everybody. Welcome to January's Pubcast. I am John Hess. That's good me.
And I'm Joseph. How are you doing?
There's Joseph. Happy January, everybody. Now, what is that video? There's some weird audio coming from the machine there, so I'm going to turn it off. Joe, go ahead and talk to people.
All right. I do not know what that is, but how are you guys all doing? It sounds like somebody's review of 2015. Oh, yeah. It is indeed somebody's review of 2015. It's an ad because, of course, YouTube is totally down for the ads. Nothing says a good old YouTube vid like an ad.
Yeah, so it was an ad on this stream.
Oh, it was an ad for the stream.
That's awesome. What it was. Okay, so, hey, welcome back. I just had to cut to Joe for no reason there. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the stream. We're going to start off. So, first of all, we don't have our live sign on yet.
Oh, you want to turn it on?
Turn that on real quick. So, you're going to watch me. Again, we're on by ourselves. We're going to watch me turn on the live sign. Here we go.
All right. Get ready for this studious work here that we put.
2, 1.
There we go.
Hey.
And we're live. Truly, truly live.
You're officially, whoops. Make sure I get back in here.
Happy late New Year to everybody in the stream.
Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year. Okay, so let's start off. I wanted to kind of start off this year by looking at 2018.
So we're going to start this year off by looking at last year.
Looking at last year. That's what we should do.
Let's go ahead. Do you want to do that now, or did you want to wait until we get everybody kind of settled in first?
Well, we can settle in a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about last year.
All right, we can talk a little bit about last year.
The last video we produced last year was superhero genre ruining cinema. Mm-hmm. And this morning I got like a comment saying that's a very clickbaity title. I'm like, yeah, it is, but you know,
it holds water. That's the difference. Yeah. It's like, yes, it's clickbaity, but it's the exact truth of what it is that there are not as many comic book movies as you think
people think they are. Yeah.
So yeah.
So and if you didn't watch the video, you should be watching the video. But you know, my point is that A, there aren't that many superhero movies, and B, superhero movies can be good.
Exactly.
You know, it's not just like it's a proposition where you can't be good, right? So, and then we'll go through my list of the top 2018
We will
movies.
be going over that, Karma. We will be going over that. You said, what was your favorite movie of 2018?
Okay, yeah, so we're going to cover my top 10, and then a list of movies that I want to see.
Yep, and I will just throw in a few hums, haws, and possibilities.
Yeah, some of these movies we watched together.
Some of these movies we watched together. Some of these movies I want to see that are on his want to see list. That here's the thing: normally John goes, Joe, you want to go see a movie? And I go, yeah. And then I go, 10 minutes, 20 minutes before we're about to go do it, I go, I don't feel so good. I'll go home.
Speaking of which, Joe, you are a little bit hot on this
I am a little bit hot.
So let's click on the one scanner there, all the way to the left.
Okay.
So make sure it's lit on. So
that was lit, actually.
So I put up some new lights here. So we're a little more regular lights. You're gonna look at the first two, and then slide them down just a tad bit.
Oh,
too much.
Too much.
Now he's in shadow. It's a little more than that.
Like that?
A little more than that, I think.
More?
Yep, there we go. I think that's good.
That looks good.
We don't want Joe completely in the shadows on this one. So anyhow,
you want to know how I got these scars?
Yeah, no, anyhow.
All right.
So, from my point. Okay, so yeah, if you haven't already, check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/filmmakeriq. We are working on the midst of a big short film. If you are a patron there, you will be able to see all of the behind-the-scenes footage.
Yeah, that's true.
2 hours of that stuff. You can watch us for 2 hours of your day.
You can watch 2 hours of us running around and setting up and
and goofing around
and just like having a good time. It was really fun.
Yeah,
really enjoyable. 2 hours of behind the scenes footage, and most of it's relevant, honestly.
Mm-hmm. All right. Why am I still on me? I should be on you for when you're talking. Anyhow.
All right.
So Patreon's always good there. Check us out, filmmakeriq.com. And if you haven't gotten a shirt, make sure you get 24 frames per second. I will design more new shirts this year. I promise you. There'll be new designs coming, but you can get the.
Superhero movies are for man children. That's true.
Right there.
We all have a little man child in us.
As Disney would say, you know, movies bring out the child in each one of us.
Exactly. I mean, I loved. Granted, crack doesn't really exist anymore, but there was the one dude who talked about what was his name? Daniel O something, where he was talking about how the fact of when we were younger and we played peekaboo, you thought that person was exactly like he was a wizard. It was because we had that, we didn't understand like what was going on. We were amazed.
Yeah.
And as movies progress, it's actually really hard to be amazed and feel like you kind of just sit there and go like, that's CGI, but like if you were back in the days of Jurassic Park, when you saw Jurassic Park and you saw those dinosaurs, that was a jump and you were like, holy shit, those dinosaurs look so fucking cool and so real that you were amazed by it. But we've gotten so inundated with like CGI and stuff like that, we don't really get to enjoy it as much as we used to. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there is an odd and childlike wonder to it.
And I'm going to do a video eventually about talking about CGI, how we use it as it's like we just cast it as, that's a magic trick.
Yeah.
We don't need to think about how hard and difficult CGI really is.
Exactly. That's
when
true.
It's like, CGI. Yeah, CGI. It's like, no, CGI is painful and hard and difficult. It requires lots of math, and people don't realize that.
Yep, very true.
Anyhow, I think we got a good quorum here. Let's go ahead and let's run down my top 10 list, and we can get to the questions and interact with chat here, shall we? All right. So I actually created some graphics for this. So I'm going to give you my top 10. These are not necessarily in the right order. Sometimes, because especially when you get to 5, they all kind of start blending together. Like, I don't necessarily think one is necessarily way better than the other one. Mm-hmm. But the bottom 2, I think I could probably change around. But I'll get into that. Here are John's top movies of 2018.
John's top movies of 2018
so far, because I haven't seen all the movies. I'm not a film critic. I don't see all the movies. All right, number 10 on my list, A Quiet Place. So A Quiet Place is, I think it was a well-made movie. I think it was just a well-made, well-fashioned movie. John Krasinski's first directorial debut. Great debut. Great way to involve his wife in his work. What are your thoughts about A Quiet Place, Joe? Do you have any thoughts?
First off, you got John Krasinski, who doing an amazing job, and you got Emily Blunt, who also does an amazing job. So, it's one of those things of, while I didn't feel the premise was super strong, it was still a super good. It was still a good movie. It
was well crafted.
Yeah, it was well crafted.
Yeah, that's the way I feel too. It's not, it is not my favorite movie, obviously it's number 10, but I didn't see that many movies in 2018.
Yeah.
And if I were to pick my top 10, it would be number 10 for me. It could be replaced. I'm just warning you, it could be replaced by something better as we move up, as I see more movies from 2018. Okay, my number 9 on my list is Overlord. Overlord. Now, this is an interesting movie, and we talked a little bit about on my superhero movies. A lot of people were talking about the death of the low or mid-budget movies. Quiet Place is like an $18 million movie. Overlord was, I think, a $50 million movie, if I have my numbers here. $38 million. So $38 million. But Overlord had, the thing about Overlord I liked, and the premise is kind of silly. If you guys don't know, it's basically about Operation Overlord, but they find a castle, and in the castle they're doing horrible experiments, and they're creating zombies. The Nazis are.
Yeah.
And it involves a big shootout. But the thing about Overlord is, for $38 million, they made some scenes in there that are on the par with Saving Private Ryan.
Okay.
Like that beach scene from Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
There are some sequences in this movie that are just as good, I think, or even the whole movie itself, as far as action is concerned, is almost better than parts of Saving Private Ryan. It's really impressive for having, $38 million budget, no name stars.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting concept.
Well, my curiosity would be, what would be Saving Private Ryan's production?
Real budget?
Like, real budget. Back then, like,
that's true. I don't
versus
know.
now. Like, would it still be construed as under or above 38 million, or I
would think it'd cost more because they,
because you're paying Tom Hanks and Matt Damon, and
Matt Damon wasn't
famous then. Yeah.
I also think because they did a lot more practically, they had to shoot with so a lot of this stuff is CGI. But it is CGI. It's a little bit cheaper in that you don't need to necessarily have all the live people there, so you don't have to pay all the people. But the sequences there's just a lot of good stuff. The movie is kind of silly. It's not the greatest movie in the world. I'm not going to lie to you and say, well, you got to go watch this movie. I'm just saying it's really quite remarkable what it did Again, the last two of my top 10s can easily be switched out.
Yeah.
At this point.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I also didn't see it. I'm not a big war fan, like a war movie fan, like Band of Brothers. Like
it's not a war movie. It's more of a silly, like, let's go kill zombies kind of thing. Okay. It's more closer to zombies, although I don't.
So it's more close to Call of Duty Zombies than it is like Call of Duty.
Yeah, it's not called. No,
well, I mean,
then like Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, I mean,
or Thin Red Line or something like that.
I gotcha.
Yeah, it's more Call of Duty-ish. But again, it's not the best movie. It's not the greatest movie. It just happens to be like, if I had to pick 10, that was just
it's a fun movie.
It's a fun movie.
I gotcha.
All right, let's go up to my next one. Let's see. We got Overlord for number 9. Number 8, Mary Poppins returns to a quiet place.
Returns to the quiet place.
So it's the return of Emily Blunt, basically, right?
Yeah.
Emily Blunt returns as Mary Poppins. I didn't like the movie that much when I first saw it. I've been listening to the soundtrack just while I'm editing stuff and making graphics, and it's starting to like click in my head, man. A little earworming is starting to get in there. Which is what I appreciate Emily Blunt's performance because I'm kind of a weird person. I'm a Mary Poppins nerd in a sense because I did the musical and I kind of studied up on the Mary Poppins and read all the stuff. I saw Saving Mr. Banks.
Saving
Private Banks.
Saving Private Banks.
Yeah, that's what it is. So I think we both have a little frog in our throat. So sorry about that, audience. But Emily Blunt just did a really, really good job. She kind of portrays Mary Poppins perfectly. Her singing voice is not Julie Andrews, obviously. You would buy a CD of Julie Andrews songs. You wouldn't buy an Emily Blunt album.
Yeah.
But her vocals are strong enough. Lin-Manuel Miranda does a good job as the American that tries to do a crappy Cockney accent, is in that role. And obviously
the Dick Van Dyke role.
This is not a spoiler, but the Dick Van Dyke is in the movie, and it's always a pleasure to see him, back in that role.
Yep. So, small aside, Tristan said Saving Private Ryan would cost about $108 million adjusted for inflation.
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
Thank you. So there you go right there. So it would have been $70 million more, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, Overlord doesn't. We're going back to Overlord.
We're going back to Overlord.
The sequences aren't the kind of scale. They're not doing the D-Day advance. They're doing the most impressive is the first shot where Overlord is they're flying into France and they're dropping parachuting down to take out the radio tower so that the bombers can then soften the beaches for D-Day.
Oh, okay,
that's the story of Overlord. So, and then what they find in the tower is zombies, right?
It's zombies. Okay.
But there's a great sequence in there where they're just jumping out of the airplane. It's like one entire take, one long shot, and it's like all this crazy crap happening. And he's seeing other planes getting blown up. And, it's a video game. It's really Call of Duty in a film version. So that's why. Anyway, that's why it's on the list.
All right. So
Mary Poppins. I think I've said enough about Mary Poppins,
y'all.
If you want to talk more about Mary Poppins, we can later.
Yeah.
But Mary Poppins is somebody that I'm attracted to, very much so. I would want her to be my nanny. I want her to come back. I want more adventures with Mary Poppins. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I want to see more Mary Poppins. All right, let's go to the next one. Number 7, Mission Impossible Fallout. I don't think a whole lot needs to be said about this because it was a damn good movie. Yeah, it was as far as action movies go, it's like probably one of the best of the year. Obviously, it's in my top 5. Have you seen it, Joe? Or
I have not yet seen it.
So Joe needs to see that one.
But the problem with Mission Impossible movies is I'm always 2 years late to them.
That's fine.
Because it's one of those things where it'll get to Netflix or some streaming site.
Yeah.
And then I'll watch it.
Then you'll watch it
at home because as much as and I always enjoy them. Like there's never a point where I didn't enjoy a Mission Impossible one. We saw the original Mission Impossible when we were younger in theater.
Yeah.
With good old Emilio Estevez in it before.
That Mission Impossible is a different mission. Different breed of Mission Impossible almost.
Well, I mean, J.J. Abrams took it over after the third on the second one. Third or was it? I thought he was second.
You're right. Maybe you're right.
I think he was second.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Brad Bird, I think, is the third one. Well, Chat will correct us.
Chat will correct us. But I mean, it changed. Like the feel of it changed. The first one was very campy Mission Impossible, which still enjoyable. Like it was him being burned essentially. and then it took on the real almost spy thriller-esque genre.
Yeah.
From 2 on. But I've enjoyed all of them. Yeah.
Well, and then you also remember that the Mission Impossible Fallout is the reason why Superman's face looks weird.
Yeah.
So
because of the mustache.
It has a cultural significance to that movie.
It destroyed Justice League.
It made
so many people.
Yeah, it made his face look weird. So that's reason enough to watch that movie. I think. Okay.
2 was John Woo. It might have been John Woo.
Oh, was it John Woo? Then 3 was Abrams.
Then 3 was Abrams.
Because 3 was the one in Australia where he's like hanging by the cliff.
Yeah,
because I remember that was what we based our version of Mission Impossible.
That's true.
Anyhow, that is my number 7 list. Let's keep going on that list because otherwise we'll be here all day.
Yeah. Anyway,
number 6, Avengers: Infinity War.
I didn't see this.
Yeah, right. You didn't see it. We saw it together. Well, the thing with Avengers, I think, I'm not obviously I've become more of a Marvel super fanboy in the last few years. I've never really cared much for comic. I never read a comic book, but I've become more interested. The Avengers is one of those things where it's like it brings it all together. And like, I get why this all matters. And number 2, there's a lot of things in Avengers where you're going to be quoting for years and years and years. It's going to be like, Luke, I am your father. Like, it has those moments in the Avengers.
Yeah, that's very true.
And I'm pretty sure we can probably avoid the spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Avengers: Infinity War and you want to see it, I don't know what's wrong with you. Maybe you're stationed in, even if you're stationed in like Iraq, you probably saw it already. But I mean, we can talk about it. The finger snap, the decisions. It is a culturally important movie.
Yeah.
So, do you have any thoughts, Joe, on that?
I mean,
aside that,
as I said, like for Infinity War, it's balanced. You enjoy like this. It has a good story. It has a ton of characters, but each person you don't feel like it was rushed. They all feel like they got a good amount of time in. You kind of, you expected the ending. You knew it was going to happen because it's a 2-parter that, things were going to, a certain person was going to win. Thanos was going to win that moment. But at the same time, it wasn't like a straight out 100% victory. Like, he did get kind of pwned. Just, you should have cut off his arm. That's the thing.
I like the chat said, the like to dislike ratio is perfectly balanced, as all things should be. And that's I guess maybe we're judging a movie by the quality of the memes that come out of it. Basically, the more memes you can create and the more memes that people recognize, I think the more impactful I think a movie is. Not necessarily the best movies in the world, but it's movies that will like stick with you forever. Yeah. And I think Infinity War definitely qualifies. I mean, it would be a safe bet. In a sense, but again, you are spoiler alert, killing off half of your characters. I mean, so it is not necessarily that safe. It's there is quite a bit to that. I guess the term is there's a meta narrative. There's a meta narrative above the movie that matters, and I think that Avengers: Infinity War benefits from the bigger meta narrative.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So anyhow, that's why it's definitely on my number 6 list.
All right, hit the next button.
We're going to the next one. Number 5, Game Night. This is a movie that I told Joe he has to watch this with me, or
that's true.
I
We
will kill him.
We watched it here while eating food.
While eating lunch. Game Night is a fantastic movie. It's just a well-crafted movie. Again, we're talking about the death of middle films. This Game Night was, I believe, $37 million.
Okay.
To create, and it's just fun. It's funny. The jokes are fresh, and I think they fit both of our sense of humor. So that's why I thought Joe would love it.
I mean, it was. I don't know. We don't. If you guys don't mind some spoilers, just put up the spoiler warning.
Just give them the general. Synopsis.
So essentially, what it is the main character and his wife wound up meeting at a game night in a bar. They're very competitive. They have friends that play game nights. They've always hosted these game nights. And there's a kind of a creepy dude, couple doors down, neighbor who always wants to be who used to be invited to game nights with his wife, and then they broke up, and then so he kind of has been out to the corner and not really part of it anymore. And then the main character's brother winds up coming, and he decides that that game night is going to be the ultimate game night, and it's going to be a kidnapping with clues and all this stuff. And then it kind of has that what was that Bill Murray one where it was like the guy who knew nothing or something like that? Yeah. Kind of feel where they all think they're still part of this in this game until they realize that they're not.
They're not in the game.
And it's really brilliant. We're not gonna go any farther than that.
That's what the trailers.
That's the premise, and it takes you through a whole bunch of stuff. You have a lot of fun. You laugh. There's a kind of one of the characters cheats on one of the other characters, and she thinks that is a certain celebrity, and it's a running joke through the whole thing until you see the picture, and it makes you laugh. It's really funny.
Yeah,
it was good. I enjoyed it. It has a really good sense of humor because we kind of have that little slightly dark sense of humor, and you like to see them in pain, but not too much pain.
It's kind of like also the modern equivalent of a screwball comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Arsenic and Old Lace, but set in 2018. So anyhow, game night, definitely recommend that. Like I said, another middle budget movie, $38 million, really good, and it actually made a good chunk of change, like 70 million or something like that. All right, let's go to the next one. 4 Crazy Rich Asians. Why? Because I am Asian, right?
Yeah.
No,
but I didn't see it because I'm neither crazy nor rich nor Asian.
But well, maybe you want to date a crazy rich Asian because I don't know. I wouldn't. It's a romantic comedy. It harkens back to like Pillow Talk. I mean, and then it's also a catalog for going to Malaysia. So you want to go to Singapore. It's like immediately you watch the movie, you're like going on Travelocity. How much does it cost to go to Singapore? Because it's basically so beautiful, and it's a fun movie. It's a blast. I just had a lot of fun with that movie. That's why it's on my list there. Crazy Rich Asians number 3. A Star is Born, another directorial debut, this time from Bradley Cooper. I'll go back to me here. Bradley Cooper there. Really well crafted. Just a really well crafted. Again, we're talking about mid-level movies. This is what, an 18, or let's see, what do I have on my list here? A Star. It's on my list, $36 million.
Yeah, so
$36 million. Bradley Cooper directing. Lady Gaga Galicious in it. She looks good and normal and not wearing any meat clothes. No bacon blouses.
No bacon blouses.
But the movie is very well done. Yes, this is a story been told 4 times before. And here's the interesting thing about A Star is Born. I think A Star is Born is what I wanted La La Land to be.
Yeah.
To me, the best parts of La La Land are in A Star is Born. That's the story that they should have told with La La Land. For me. I know a lot of people love La La Land. And I don't think you saw that A Star is Born either. Have you?
Oh, no, I did see that, actually.
Is it? How would you think of it?
I did. I liked it.
Thoughts?
I liked it. Again, first off, Bradley Cooper is insanely impressive because he is singing, he is playing the instrument, and I mean, again, he's directing and he's like one of the main actors. So it's not like he was a side character. I mean, like he took on a lot of hats, and anything with Sam Elliott.
Yeah, can we talk about Sam Elliott's mustache for a second here?
Oh,
that thing.
That thing is always iconic.
Give that guy, give the mustache an Oscar.
I like how I'm always looking towards you, never towards the camera. But I just like.
I don't know where I'm looking at.
Yeah, I feel like we need to.
We're going crazy.
Anyway, yeah. I mean, Sam Elliott does a really good job. And the cool thing is now Bradley Cooper basically kind of tweaked his voice so he sounded very almost like a sibling of Sam Elliott, and it was really well done. And yeah, I mean, the story has been told before, so it's not really anything you need to go super in depth about, but like the shooting, the acting, the fact of that they used it wasn't just like CGI crowds, like they really went into like concerts and like other people's concerts and sang like these songs for these people. So like those are all real real crowds.
It is Coachella, I think is what they did.
Yeah, I think it was Coachella.
It's like, we're going to shoot a movie. Everybody cool.
Yeah.
And we're not going to tell you. So we're going to introduce them by character name. It's like Lady Gaga comes up, and probably half people didn't recognize it.
Oh, of course. Probably no people were recognizing it until her voice started coming out.
Yeah. I mean, that would have been cool. But anyway, and then it's like, okay, don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Of course, they're going
to... But yeah.
Put your phones away.
Put your phones away. I'm sure that didn't happen. But yeah, so I mean, it was really a cool way of doing it because you didn't feel like it was fake. There's certain times where you can watch a movie and it's like, it shows like the crowd and then it goes back to them and it shows the crowd and you're like, those two things aren't connected at all.
Yeah.
Like, but... Yeah, they did a good job. So anyway, let's jump.
Let's go back. Okay, so we're at 3. Now we're going to 2. My second favorite is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Okay, number 1 and 2 are kind of hard for me to decide between the two because Spider-Man, I think, is absolutely a marvel of the Marvel as a joke. It's not Marvel. It's Sony Pictures of all people. Yeah. Of all studios. She has come out with a really good, probably the best Spider-Man movie. For me, at least, I don't get the.
It took them a long time.
It took them a long time to get it right.
To perfect these things, but yeah, they finally have 2 good Spider-Man.
Well, I never got the Spider-Man lore. It never like sunk in for me until I saw this movie. Until I understand the appeal, the deep appeal, like get into your soul appeal of Spider-Man. And it was this movie that did it. And on top of that, the animation is something I have never seen before. It's just so well done. It is so experimental and well done, and just it's really, really well done. I thought it was a tremendous experience. I actually saw this one twice in theaters.
Yeah.
But it is something worth going out and seeing. Even if you don't like... If you like animation, you have to see this. If you like animation, like any kind of animation, you've got to see this movie because it is astounding.
Yeah, I mean, and they were able to do, Peter Porker, which is Spider-Ham, like
Spider-Man Noir, which is voiced by Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage, yeah. I mean, the whole fact of the main Spider-Man is, in a way, they were saying like, hey, our Tobey Maguire version of Spider-Man still important, still relevant, because if you notice when he talks about stuff from his past,
he's referencing it.
It's referencing the original Spider-Mans that they did. So it was like, and at the same time, adding in everybody else, Penny and Spider-Gwen and all, and kind of like Aunt May, and it had that really cool feel to it.
You did see it eventually? You did see it, or?
I did see it.
Okay, good,
yeah. But yeah, so I mean, it had a feel to it where it was. I mean, it was good. It was well done, and the voicing in it, or the voice acting fit. The young Morales.
Boy, I could have thought
he did an amazing job. Like they did an amazing job with his voice acting.
I could have thought they brought Tobey Maguire back to do some of the voices of one of the older Spider-Mans that dies, or
they did a
really good voicing.
Yeah, I think it was one of those things. Is he's kind of past that at the moment, or I don't know.
The real Tobey Maguire?
The real Tobey Maguire. He's just
I think he's retired almost.
Yeah, probably. So I mean, they did a lot of, and also I like the way they did it because it is computer animation, but at the same time, it has a very comic book feel, and I think that's what kind of gives it that uniqueness. Is because it's like some of the effects are things that you would see if you feel like you would see if a comic book came to life. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of like what makes it so good.
That's what makes the art so remarkable. It's like you've got to watch this from an animation standpoint just to see the kind of creativity in the artwork, Anyhow, it's really good.
Yeah.
I can't say enough about it.
Anyway, yeah.
My top movie of the year so far is The Favorite.
Which we made fun of while we were
making fun of that movie because we were driving in LA and we saw a poster of this and we're like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, it was
like, how do you pronounce the director's name? Lanthos Mortz Mwadz? But anyhow, The Favorite. I really like this movie because I think I've learned that I like movie about catty women who fight.
Yeah.
It's just something about the movie. It is so creatively directed. It's got one of my favorite actresses, which is Olivia, not Olivia Wilde, but she's from Peep Show. Olivia.
I remember her. I know who you're talking about, but I can never remember her name.
She plays the queen.
Yeah.
And she's got these 2 handmaidens, and one who's played by Rachel Weisz, and she's the favorite.
Yeah.
And here comes Emma Stone, who's like this lady to be, but she was like her husband, like decided to gamble her in a poker game, and then she becomes this like poor handmaiden, and she has to so she kind of gets into the court throne and tries to manage her way up into the thing, and then Rachel Weisz sees her managing up and tries to take her down, and it's like, but it's also got some great lines, and I can't, if I repeat the line that I love from this movie that's just been in my brain ever since, this video would be demonetized, so I can't do that because it's such a great line. Involves a word we can't say. But anyhow, that is my favorite movie. But here's the thing. I'm not a movie reviewer, so I don't see all these movies. This is just movies I went to go see in the theater or I saw at home. I think all these movies I saw in theater. So,
all right, before we jump that, let's get a little interaction and then we'll jump into the thing. All right. So first off, welcome everybody who joined while we were doing this kind of top 10 of 2018. Secondly, welcome Whiskey Throttle. But yeah, so basically really quick, if you have any questions, we are going to cover some stuff that we wanted to see in 2018. That's what John has. We have some movies that hadn't been seen that want to be seen. And you guys did mention a couple of them, so you'll see those in there when we talk about it. But as for 2019, I really haven't had anything just yet. But
Avengers Part 2.
Well, yeah,
I can see that.
2, yeah.
Other than that, I mean, I don't keep track of these things. Like, I'm not on top of these 100%.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, like, we love movies and stuff like that, but I mean, we don't go hunting for them. It's really one of those things of,
well, I go hunting for them at the moment.
At the moment, yeah.
You know,
or it's like kind of one of those things of like, what's going on or what's around, like, but we're already in the mood to see a movie, so that's when you know, whether we go to our, like, we have a theater that is essentially a lower price theater where it has like some of the movies that we may have missed that are still in theaters, so we can go watch them there, or, you know, what's current. So it's kind of one of those things of, you know, it really is a in the mood kind of thing, or something. Sometimes it's a controversial movie too that might pop up where it's like some people really hate it or really like it, or, you know, there's something surrounding it that, you know, brought it to the foreground. So, you know, 2019 really hasn't, for me anyway, hasn't seen anything stick out where I'm like, oh my gosh, chomping at the bit, other than, part 2 of the Infinity War, which, I mean, at this point, comic book nerd.
Well, I mean, I think also we're going to get the follow-up to The Last Jedi, which for me is a have to watch, but I think for the internet it may be over with that.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's like I don't necessarily keep track of what's that far ahead because I just don't. I'd rather. I'm more interested in, like, I'll see if a trailer comes out for something. Yeah. You know, I'll look at, or a trailer gets buzz or something.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I don't like look in the crystal ball and get excited about movies that are coming way up front. Again, also part of it is being a filmmaker. You don't necessarily have time to necessarily go to the movies all the time. That's kind of the irony thing about filmmaking. It's like it takes a lot of your time, and you're not necessarily able to watch all the stuff out there.
Yep. I will say that because someone said, have you seen the trailer for, or Bad Karma said, have you seen the trailer for Glass?
Yes, I have.
Yes. I'm obviously going to go see it. I think it's Split. It was the name of, it's Unbreakable, Split, and then Glass. So, I mean, I saw Split, just oddly enough, didn't even know that it was going to be part of that universe when I watched it. And then I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then now Glass, so I obviously will still see it. I enjoyed Unbreakable. I enjoyed Split because it has the first two had a semi-real feel until they didn't, I guess you want to say. Like you're like, oh, okay. It's like this seems like a very, you know, Highlander, not Highlander, but like balanced thing. So there's always this. If there's someone that's super powered, there's that vice versa person who's super brittle.
As Thanos says.
Yeah, there's the balance. Bringing back the balance.
Well, it's one of the, you know, a good thing with Unbreakable was one of the first superhero movies that sold itself necessarily not as a superhero comic book movie, and it kind of brought it was you know, what if superheroes were in this real world? How would we deal with them, kind of thing? Before we had like the Dark Knight and stuff like that. So yeah, it's has a place. Split. I mean, I wasn't too crazy about Split. I did like it. I think it picked up for me toward the middle and end. Unfortunately, I've read an early review of Glass that wasn't favorable of it, so it's still up to Still up in the air whether I'm going to be down for that.
Yeah. Also, don't worry, guys. If you don't particularly care for the new Star Wars, you're in my camp, not John's. So it's okay. It's all right. You're still in good company. We're just
just go online. You go on YouTube. You're in plenty of company.
Yeah, that's true. It's the I figured it out. It's Stockholm syndrome because it's basically like, the first ones were good, like, and then it's like the violent beating happened in the prequels, and now these ones, and the first one, Force Awakens, was okay, and then this one, you're like, he only beats me sometimes. Like, it's Star Wars syndrome. It's terrible, but it is.
Well, I mean, I've discussed in previous ones. It's like, for me, the newer Star Wars is the reason is when I got the deep mythology. I finally understood what the mythology was.
Yeah.
Whereas as a kid, I wasn't exposed to Star Wars until very, very late.
Know. And so that's the other thing is a lot of us, and that's why I think you see a lot of people who defend the prequels is because that was where they entered. And I mean, but
I'm wondering too, and
midichlorians is a terrible thing.
Yeah, not to totally like derail this thing, but like this new Mary Poppins movie, which when I first saw it, I didn't think it was that good. But I'm wondering if like a 5-year-old or 6-year-old, 7-year-old watches this, like this is their first entry point in the world of Mary Poppins. This is like fantastic shit.
Yeah,
as a 6-year-old, like, oh man, she's like diving through bubbles and there's turtles and there's dancing on the ceilings and all that, and we're like, and us older folks like that's the same scene they had with the floating, the
guy and the
with the voice from the Mad Hatter guy,
the voice the Mad Hatter guy. Yep.
So it's all. I've got to be very like careful how you think about how you enter these movies and where your mind is.
Yeah, I like that. I'm looking forward to a remake of Highlander. They can erase all the garbage from poorly made sequels. That is true.
Perhaps. I've never seen Highlander, so fresh territory.
Okay, you know what? It's Goonies now. The Highlander. It's Sean Connery, my friend, and all right. And dang it, what's his name? I can't think of the main character's name for the life of me right now.
The guy from Kill Bill.
Someone will say it. No, it's not. No, not that guy. It's someone will say it in the chat. I'm sure.
Well, let's run through these movies that I haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
That I want to see. Then we can go back to yelling about Star Wars. All right. So anyhow, I just put them all on a couple slides here, but I'll go through them. Molly's Game is one that I'm kind of curious about. Didn't do too well, but it is about an Olympic skater who runs a high-dollar, highly illegal poker tournament involving incredibly rich people. Bohemian Rhapsody has been winning a few Golden Globes. I haven't seen it yet, but I should probably watch it. Right there below that is Aquaman, because we keep saying we're going to see Aquaman, but we haven't gotten around to it. Annihilation from I believe the writer of
Christopher Lambert.
Okay.
Thank you. Gurley. Thank you, Gurley. Anyway,
Annihilation brought the writers from the movie with what's her face, Amy Adams. And it was the movie where not Signs, the one where they're doing the translation. Arrival. Yeah,
that was a good movie.
And then the one below that, I can barely see. What is that one? Man, my eyes are so bad here. Well, the one below, I think, is that Hereditary or?
No, I like how we made these. We made it super small.
I gotta go up and then look at it.
Is that First Man? No.
Oh, El Royale.
Oh, yeah. El Royale. Cheese.
Yeah, fun times at El Royale. I think people mention this movie. Can't really give you a synopsis of this. A Simple Favor is the one on the far right there. Again, following my passion for movies about women who are catty to each other. And this is directed by Paul Feig, of all people.
Yeah.
Who... maybe he would redeem himself after Ghostbusters 2 there.
We can only hope.
Can only hope so. The Meg, just because it seems like people liked it. When I bitched about it on Facebook one time, people were like, it's not that bad a movie. White Boy Rick, it's about a guy who's undercover to like do a drug gang thing, but the White Boy Rick, he actually becomes like the drug cartel leader.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Fun Time Happy Murders. Didn't hear great things about this, but I kind of like the idea of puppets. It's kind of silly.
Yeah, I mean, it's always one of those things you always like see.
Yeah.
There's that small bit where you're always like, man, it would be funny to see the Muppets go X-rated, and then this is essentially what this is.
Yeah, and I heard it not that great, so it's at least don't watch it in theater, watch it on a streaming service. First Man, La La Land's director Turn, obviously about the first moon landing, which was really happening. Don't be a dick and don't be an idiot. It's not fake. Okay, Hereditary, which was mentioned in the chat. I'm not even quite sure how to describe that. The Green Book is an interesting a movie about a driver who drives around a classically trained piano player through the South.
Yeah.
Who does touring gates. And apparently the Green Book is what they published to tell black people in the South that which places were safe to travel to. That was the Green Book.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Christopher Robin, which is a story obviously about the creation of poo.
Yeah.
Which I can tell you in about a few hours. No, just kidding. That was a horrible joke, John. Don't ever say it again.
Boo.
And then I think Forgive Me, Will You Ever Forgive Me, was the Melissa McCarthy movie about the where she fakes
author's notes.
So some interesting movies in there. You know, that's obviously not totally exhaustive. Nothing ever is. Yeah. But the point is, too, that yes, there are movies out there that are not superhero comic book movies. Not to say that the superhero comic
Aquaman
movies,
was on there.
It was on there, but there's like 10 others.
Yeah, but hey, at the same time, there were at least I want to say 15.
Yeah, and then I mean, going down these lists of movies here, like Upgrade is a movie that I saw that I didn't put on my list. That was a $3 million movie. Molly's Game was 30. Commuter, which is another, it's like a rip off of Taken kind of thing. That's a $40 million movie. Annihilation's $55 million. Isle of Dogs from last year, which I didn't really care for. And I watched it again the second time. I kind of got put off by the Japanese angle. That was about a $50 million movie. Overboard, a movie that didn't make my list, $12 million. Heredity, $10 million.
Wait, is that the one about the dog that dies over and over again?
Isle of Dogs?
Yeah. Oh, Isle of Dogs. Okay.
Isle of Dogs is about the kid that Japan banishes dogs.
Oh, okay.
They send them to an island, but the problem is it's so full of Japanese stereotypes. It feels like the movie. If you remember the movie Rushmore,
yeah,
it feels like one of Rushmore's plays that he scripts. It's like kind of too smart for its own thing, but it's also kind of super stereotypical. Yeah, it's like I don't really like this portrayal of Japan. Operation Finale, which is $24 million. That was a movie about capturing the last Nazi alive. A Simple Favor with $20 million. White Boy Rick, $30 million. A Bad Times at El Royale, $32 million. Bohemian Rhapsody is only a $50 million movie.
Yeah.
Green Book, $29 million. Mary Poppins, that was $130 million. And
so I'm getting, how did you not have Suspiria?
Suspiria, because I didn't see it. I'm not that big a horror fan. I don't have a lot of horror films on my list. Although, yeah, I probably should watch that movie. My mom likes horror films, and that's probably a movie that I could turn on and we could both enjoy, at least, you know. But Suspiria, yeah, it's not on my list because it's just not. I had other my tastes tend to live more in this realm.
Well, if you have Netflix and you haven't seen The Resort spelled with a Z, that was an interesting zombie one. That was entertaining. It was like
should we talk about Bird Box?
I still haven't seen it.
You've seen Bird Box? Okay.
So I mean, we could talk about. I'll watch it, and then we can. I'll either complain about it or whatever.
Let's talk about what we're trying to do. Is do 2 of these a month.
Oh yeah, that's
so we're now doing the day shift version. We're gonna do one, the second and fourth Fridays.
Yeah,
within reason. We might like shift a day or two depending on how our schedules or something's going on. Mm-hmm. And then we're gonna try to do one during the day and then one during the night, so that both people all over the world can have a chance to watch us live. Of course, you can always watch us later.
You can always watch this later, but yeah, you'll have a chance to watch us live. And also, that's kind of why we have this, like the top 10 of things we didn't see. We're gonna try to have a little bit more of a format to these as well, because we're gonna be doing these 2 times a month. We want to have something to kind of bring as kind of the main course of these, so that we're not just, I mean, it is fun to answer your guys' questions and to sit here and talk between us, but we do that a lot.
I think we're going to be doing that right about now too.
Yeah, exactly. So now we want to have a little bit of content and context for each podcast as well. Like this one was essentially movies of last year, and at the same time talking about, you know, things kind of on Netflix. And the whole Black Mirror thing was pretty interesting.
And that's and my list was nothing but movies that were in theaters.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm not counting the shows and the Netflix movies and all that.
Yeah, and we were we were talking about this, I don't know, about a night ago, with the whole Choose Your Own Adventure movie that came out on Netflix, and how many endings it has, and how Lisa J in here She went through about 2 hours of this Black Mirror movie and still didn't reach an ending. So, like, I mean, it's pretty crazy, and frankly, I think it's a terrible idea. The choose your own adventure route is not. It's a game. It's like a game that has no fun parts to it. So yeah, I Bandersnatch. Yeah,
Bandersnatch.
Exactly.
Are we allowed to say that on there? Bandersnatch?
If we get demonetized
for saying Bandersnatch? Okay.
We'll know for next time. But yeah, so it's kind of one of those things of there's these interesting routes that people are taking to try to bring that next step, and sometimes it's like don't go there, just bring it back, bring it down. And so Bandersnatch was kind of that way. I think I saw a article about how even the director can't find certain endings, and it's like, if you're the director of this and you can't find a specific ending in your own essential choose your own adventure story, something has gone horribly awry.
I like Lisa J just said, I watch movies so I don't have to make a decision.
Yeah.
That's very true. And remember when Roger Ebert was reviewing one of those, decide your own ending movies? He's like, that was the same point. It's like, we go to the movies not to make a choice. We go to the movies to just have a story told or presented to us. That's what we go to the movies for.
Exactly.
And then I was watching another review show that I really like. It's called Double Toasted, because they influence me a lot, because they are movie reviewers or on Rotten Tomatoes, and they do see all these movies, so I do listen to them quite a bit. But they were saying, you go to these choose your own adventure stories, and it's usually chaos, because most people are just voting to see what the worst thing that could happen.
Oh yeah.
Well, Bandersnatch is a little different because you are in control of your own story, not crowd deciding thing.
But you thought it was fun? Did you thought Bandersnatch was fun? Well, I mean, that's the thing is, you enjoyed it, and that's awesome. It's not always, everything's up for interpretation. You had fun. I didn't. Some people do, some people don't. But for me, I feel like it's just, especially because I'm also I play a lot of video games and I stream and stuff like that. So it's one of those things of, it's just, to me, it just feels like the cinematics of a video game that you don't get to enjoy the in-between parts of. Which sometimes you think oh, that's really cool, but a lot of the time you just go, oh man, I'd rather play the game. But yeah, it just kind of felt to me a little too dry. But I mean, that's up to interpretation for everybody.
I had a question come in here. Maybe we'll answer it here. Will we ever make one of those videos about the difference between celluloid and digital? Big fan from Holland. Big fan of Holland. From Holland, yeah. I thought originally was talking about Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I get it now. Yeah, as far as celluloid film versus digital, it's a topic that keeps moving and keeps moving. I'm not really that good a person to be talking about that, because I come from the world of video. And I've always been a video guy. I started as a video guy.
Yeah.
And video was what makes what we do now, what I do now, possible. So I don't have that allegiance to film at all. But I also don't berate people that say they love the look of film. To me, it's just not what I see.
Yeah.
So I'm not the person, I don't think, to be talking about film versus video or film versus digital. On top of that, things are moving so rapidly and crazily that it's hard to say. Although I was watching The Wild Bunch last night with directed by Sam Peckinpah, and I was admiring the look of the film because it looks really, really intensely bright.
Yeah.
So it does have some softness when it counts, but I mean that's the look of old films, and it looks great, and there's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I'm not the person to be making that comparison.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
And I get what you're saying, Dave, because he said Bandersnatch Black Mirror is a meta experience of the developer programming a game of the same nature.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of and I get that, and that's kind of why for me it's one of those things of, as a gamer, maybe it just doesn't click because I feel like it's missing something, an aspect. But I mean, hey, if people enjoy it, that's great. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that genre is gonna go anywhere of movie, but if people enjoy it as that niche kind of movie or the niche kind of nature, then hey, we all have those niches that we enjoy, whether it's retro gaming or whether it's cartoons, whether it's anime, whether it's a certain type of zombie. We all have those niches that we enjoy. And if there are enough people that enjoy that niche, it's going to keep showing up. So, and if people enjoy it, then they enjoy it. As for Bohemian Rhapsody, not exploring in depth of Queen, I mean, it's hard to go in depth on stuff like that and not become a really, really long documentary. When you start, especially, that's why it's always, when you see something and it says based on a true story, and then you find out that explosion didn't happen, or whatever it may be, that main point that was in that true story that you thought was so pivotal, a lot of the time it's not as big as they make it in the movie. It's because it has to be big. It has to be something that draws in the attention and makes people talk about it to their friends, so they go see this true story. And that ice skater that had the underground freaking poker games.
No, on the topic of Bohemian Rhapsody, I'll just kind of piggyback on top. It's really the reason why I didn't see it in theaters is because I heard that it was very episodic, and they'll be like, okay, here's how this song was made, here how this song was made, and here's how this song. So it didn't feel like a cohesive story. It's more like little mini stories. Yeah. This is what I heard. Okay, so I haven't seen the movie. But this is something that I deal with a lot in my history of videos. People always come to complain, like, hey, your history of science or color, the movie, why didn't you talk about this obscure Russian color thing? Well, because it doesn't fit the narrative. Yeah. You got to create a story. You just can't sit there and just start listing off. And that's my biggest pet peeve with all these documentaries about filmmaking, is they're just lists. Like, oh, here let's talk about the history of film noir. And it's just like a movie. There's no structural flow. There's no narrative that carries you from the beginning of the noir period to the end of the period. So it's an issue, with the way you attack history, the way you do a non-fictional movie. Is the story is the most important. You have to surrender the story always.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Okay, so David asked, what is the next big FIQ project, which is our short?
Short? Yeah, I'm working on it right now.
We're working on it right now, and then the lesson that is going to be with that.
Yeah, I'm working
Those are the next two big projects.
We got some small ones coming up.
And some small ones coming in between, but those are the next big projects, which the short is already filmed, rough cutted, so it's just getting into the polishing. The lesson... John has to sit down with their technician and ask some questions.
Try to develop
the lesson to better fit what everybody's used to for lessons. And those are the two big things. And then
the behind the scenes
bits.
too.
And the behind the scenes as well.
As far as the bits are concerned, there's one bit that I have written, and it is the dealing with dynamic range of the Blackmagic Pocket cinema camera, or also dual ISO cameras. So it's already written. I need to revise it and then record it probably next week, and then release it probably next week. But that's also happening while we're doing this big giant thing about time code. So the short film's called Out of Sync.
Yep.
I'm not going to hide that fact.
Yeah.
But we're done the rough cut. I am about 70% with the effects shots. I showed the effects of the fighting effects. So we got to do sound design next. And we're trying to mix in music. I'll bring Chris in. I already talked to him about doing color grade.
Yeah.
So he'll come in and teach me how to use Resolve finally. So I can learn how to do color grading. I'll have him do the color grade, and then titles, and then get everybody's approval, and hopefully YouTube doesn't kick us out the door.
There you go.
For showing a logo or something.
Yeah,
which should be legal. Which is legal.
It is legal. So Dr. Evil said, by the way, how do you feel about watching movies from directors who do bad stuff? Where do you draw the line in the separation of the art from the artist?
Oh,
well, we already kind of hit this a little bit, which was Paul Feig. What is the name of that movie?
Simple Favor.
Simple Favor. It's one of those things that I don't really judge I'll make fun of a movie that they do, but if it looks good, I'll watch it. Doesn't matter the director. I mean, everybody has hit and miss kind of things. Sometimes it's the actual company coming in, like Paramount or something, telling them like you need to do it this way or make these changes and stuff like that. So sometimes the vision isn't always what the director had when he started. And so like I always give the benefit of the doubt. Like maybe we're gonna see what they can really do in this one versus something that was previously earlier, and vice versa. Because every good person can have a bad one. I could wind up watching something and not like it. So every movie is different. Every movie has new characters, new writers, new actors, whatever it may be. And so I'm always willing to give it a shot.
I think they're also trying to get at more of the like how do you feel about watching certain movies by certain directors for whatever political or stuff they've done in their lives.
That's an interesting way of thinking of it too. Yeah. But at the same time, I just try not to watch and listen or to certain interviews of people that I really like, because sometimes you're just like, dang it.
Yeah.
Just please be quiet.
I think also working in this industry, you have to like just accept that people have different opinions. I know this is the internet, and that's a hard thing to swallow. But the people have different opinions, they do different things, I'll just throw examples out. Okay, Kevin Spacey. All right.
Yeah.
One of the greatest actors we had.
Oh yeah, we were talking about
But now he's literally blackballed. You cannot talk about him anymore. I mean, I feel bad because I still want to go back and watch, The Usual Suspects, and I want to watch Big Kahuna, and I want to watch these movies, and I will. When I watch those movies, though, I'm not thinking in my head necessarily like, oh, this guy is a child rapist.
Yeah.
But it's true. There is some separation. I'm not telling you have to separate, but I don't think that because I know a lot of people that if you are politically different than that actor or that director, you will just not watch anything. People have different politics. Let's separate politics from like actual evil wrongdoing.
Yeah.
Or like let's say if you found a director went out and shot somebody. Yeah, I might have like, okay, maybe not so happy about supporting that person. Yeah. I don't know. It's a hard thing.
It's a hard thing. I mean, to each person, you kind of have to go like, well,
it's a case by case thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's all shitty, but yeah, I mean, sometimes you just have to separate it from. As I said, there's so many other people that worked on that thing. There's so many different actors, so many different writers, all that. Like sometimes you have to separate them from who they really are in real life.
And there's a bunch of people that are working on it. Like you can't, like, well, I politically disagree with the marketing manager of Target.
Yeah.
I'm not going to penalize all of Target to never shop at Target because like one person in some system somewhere disagrees with me. Like that doesn't. That's not how free markets work. So, but it's also free market. Free market's also like, look, you don't want to shop there for any reason. That's your prerogative.
Yeah,
you can do whatever you want. I'm just saying that, but like, be reasonable about it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say.
I mean, it's
dancing around the dangerous topics. Yep. It's tripping the light fantastic around a dangerous topic.
But even furthermore, directors that have a big presence in the movies like Lars van Trier?
Yeah, Lars van Trier. I'm just not a big fan of Lars van Trier. I mean, I'm not just. It's not me. I'm not into that kind of film.
Yeah,
and his personality comes across in those films. I'm much more of the not the Duvet brothers, but Duplass brothers.
Yeah,
I really much more prefer that kind of indie mentality.
Yeah,
than like Lars von Trier, which I've always just not liked.
Yep. What about James Gunn in Guardians of the Galaxy? That was disappointing. Yeah. But I mean, he's on another show now. He's on DC now.
Okay,
he's making something for DC. I'm not sure what it was though. But yeah, I mean, they're gonna like things like that, little petty things like that. They're gonna find another home.
Screw it. You know the story about did you see the story about Gordon Ramsay and Sofia Vergara?
Oh yeah,
that was so stupid.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get in trouble for saying that. I don't care.
Yeah, that was like a very. I saw the clip, and basically he made a joke that in Britain would have been laughed at, but apparently it wasn't.
Did you watch the whole thing?
No, I didn't watch it. I just watched like 7 seconds. I lost interest.
So basically, Gordon Ramsay's they come. I think somebody told him, like, hey, be kind of like flirtatious with Sofia Vergara. So he's saying stuff like, oh, you put that whole thing in your mouth, wink, wink,
Yeah.
And she's playfully fighting back. It's a lot of big. And he does feel like he steps over the line. But you have to be. I mean, in reality, you have to. There has to be a. You have to be able to step over the line just a little bit. Okay, now you got to back off.
Yeah,
and he does back off, and so it's so ridiculous, and it's the stupidest thing on there. I'm so over that.
I don't know. I saw 2 seconds of it and just was like, nah, whatever. There's no like. Well, I was like, oh no. It's like, okay, no. This is not a non-issue. This is a non-issue for me. I'm gonna go to the next thing. Like,
I get the whole thing with that. Okay, women are told, they have to like try to play it off because that's the way the industry is, and it's kind of seedy. Yeah, I know that sucks too, but the thing is, he was just goofing around, and I don't think anything wrong with it at all. I'm just anyhow.
Ill-view visuals. I actually have not seen Venom.
Neither have I. They're coming with a Venom 2, though.
Are they? Oh, yeah. So if I did enough, it did well enough to have a Venom 2. One of my friends is just gonna lend me the actual DVD of it, and so I will watch it.
One of my friends.
Yeah, this is one of the friends.
One of my friends on the internet.
Yeah. No, it's actually one of the people that he's just bringing me a actual real copy.
Not Captain Jack Sparrow special.
Yeah, we're not pirating. We're not. Yarr.
We're gonna go watch some movies.
Well, they're being offended on her behalf. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, unless she came out and said she was offended, then don't go being offended on her behalf. I like that.
Yeah.
Did you heard of the story of John Lester, the boss of Pixar, is now going to work for the studio
Skydance?
I
did not hear about that.
I didn't either, but there's a lot of people playing musical chairs.
Well, money's good.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, right? You got him for a contract for so long, that contract runs out, someone else plucks him up.
Although, if you ever go online and look up John Lasseter's desk, it is atrocious. Not that it's atrocious, that it's messy. He has, who John Lasseter is? Yeah. So he has his desk is covered with Toy Story paraphernalia.
Oh, geez.
And his wall is just nothing but toys. Mm-hmm. It's like, how do you get anything work done? It's there's toys all around you. It's insane.
He's just sitting there playing with all these toys.
It's an insane amount of toys. I hope he just got that out for the camera and then he puts it all away. It's that's ridiculous. Although if you ever watch Guillermo del Toro's Man Cave, check that out. Oh, and then a movie that's going around right now is called They Shall Not Be Forgotten, which is about the World War I folks. Mm-hmm. So in the movie, in the presentations around here, Peter Jackson introduces the film. At the very end, he talks about how he made it.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'm a huge World War I buff. So in order to get the textures of the cloth right, I just dug into my closet, my closet of World War I uniforms. We pulled them out and we just started matching them. And to get the sound of the howitzer, I just used my howitzer that I have.
I just use the one I keep.
The one I keep, as most people do in their backyard.
Yeah.
So and these directors who have a lot of money and they have interesting tastes.
And Steph, we do try to answer everybody's questions, but the problem is we're not going to be able to answer everybody's, especially when we're answering other questions. So if people wind up leaving,
just repeat it.
Yeah, it's one of those things just repeat the question later. Yeah. We'll try to answer it. But it's not like we're trying to alienate everybody. But
no, I'm just alienating the guys that are being jerks, because there's one guy in there that I think was being a jerk, but I think he's gone now.
Yeah.
Anyhow, what was the question?
Let's see. I don't know.
The guys, you should read some comments. You are losing your audience in the lose talk. Okay. Roma. You know what? Roma. I did not care for Roma. Just the story didn't buy it, and I didn't think the cinematography was that great. I'm sure it's black and white. Black and white's almost a cheat, because you can almost get away with more with black and white. You can create a more beautiful film by just shooting it in black and white. I don't know. Yeah. I wasn't a big fan of Roma. I'm one of the few people that stands outside of the critical circles. But I think Roma will probably win a lot of Oscars, although I think The Favorite has a good chance of putting a good fight with it. But yeah, Roma, not my favorite.
And Jacob, I'm sure that he probably either did a heavy treatment on Toy Story 4, or he probably is come on as a creative.
Well, when is Toy Story 4 coming out?
It's to my knowledge, it's already in production. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean these things take 8 years, 6 years to make.
He might already be done.
He's probably already done with it.
Because I mean, it was announced, like they were announcing. I forget if it was Tim Allen or Tom Hanks had already announced it way back in like mid last year.
Yeah, those animated movies take forever. That's why I wouldn't be surprised. 46 people watching with 300,000 subs. I have double the people watching my streams. Cool for you.
Yeah, good, awesome. Like,
what did you do? What did you think of First Reformed? I haven't seen that one. Have you seen that one?
I have not. I'm not actually even sure which one that is. How about Cold War?
Haven't heard of that one either.
June 2019. I'm assuming.
Toy Story.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it's
probably completely done. So
they're probably just editing.
Yeah, at this point, it's probably just
all the animations done and all the storyboards are done and all that stuff.
Oh yeah. I'm sort of out of the loop. Most of these movies I've not heard of until mentioned in this live stream. No worries, Rabbit Monkey. So like, with how we're inundated with movies nowadays, I mean, it's one of those things of it's either word of mouth, you're watching like a ton of like, review stream, like, YouTube channels, or, it's something that really interests you. You're really, sometimes things can pass you by. And with how fast, like before, it was something would stay in the theater 3 months, 4 months or something like that. It felt like. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on that, but it just felt like it was long.
8 weeks is usually the max.
8 weeks? All right. Yeah. So, like, I don't know. It just felt like movies stayed a little longer. And before. But now that there's so many, things get pushed out faster. Or maybe it's just it feels like it hits DVD faster.
It does definitely hits DVD faster. That's for sure. And movies, longest like 6 weeks, I think, in theater release. Nowadays, I think it's like 3 weeks. It's like 3 or 4 weeks, and then 2 weeks later, and then it's DVD time.
Yeah.
Because they want to get them out pretty quickly. But the point I wanted to make on that point was that you do feel out of loop. It's true. If all you listen to is just like what's going on, what's popular on YouTube, if you listen to what the algorithm is telling you, you're seeing nothing but Star Wars stuff, and you're seeing nothing but Marvel stuff.
Yep.
So you're going to think, oh, shoot, the whole world is nothing but Marvel and Star Wars. There's no other movies out there.
Yeah, exactly.
But all you got to do is just open up like RottenTomatoes.com or something like that, and you will see like all the different movies that are out there. Or do what I do: follow a review channel that you feel like matches your personality.
Yeah, that's another way of doing it too.
Yeah, and then they'll tell you what movies are popular because it's their job to stay on top of the movies, and you just pick the ones that they liked. And you're like, well, he likes it, I'll probably like it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's a great way to do it. But the thing is, they don't just rely on like the most popular things. Don't rely on like Den of Geek to tell you about all these other movies.
Exactly.
Because they're going to talk about what they want to talk about.
So Dr. Evil watched The White Dog, 1982 today. And, Yeah, and he said he missed the afternoon compact dark story movies. Yeah, I mean, those ones were...
Afternoon?
Yeah, it's like... so essentially kind of like the old... Remember like those old ones that would show up on KTLA where it's just like... or like... old movies that kind of showed up on TV that were dark and then, had like the always ended had an happy ending, but it was just that arc of very dark and then, at the light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing. Kind of White Fangish, I guess, maybe like Jack London style kind of movies.
Just jumping out of the stream here. Mandy was a movie that I forgot to put on my list because it was not a wide release, and my list was I was going through the wide release list. But yeah, Mandy was a film that Chris saw that he said it was just blew his mind. So I kind of want to see it. He's like, you better be careful because it may not work for everybody. So Mandy.
Arctic was great. Go watch it, guys. Oh, well, I haven't seen it, but maybe take a look at it. Let's see.
Searching, I haven't heard of either.
Did you guys see any TV shows? I saw season 2 of Westworld and season 4 of Better Call Saul. Both shows had good episodes, but not like amazing. Can you recommend any good TV shows?
Let's talk about TV shows for a little bit.
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously, Game of Thrones is going to be coming up. So I've just been going back and watching old TV shows.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
I honestly have been watching Stargate Atlantis.
All right.
Simply because I watch I watch a lot of comic book TV shows. You know this, and so the problem is sometimes you watch something and you just feel detached, and sometimes you watch something and it doesn't like like, okay, so again, essentially Stargate Atlantis was they went to another universe or another galaxy. Another universe, another galaxy. They get stranded there, and then they have to deal with everything. And the first season ends really really dark. You think they're gonna lose, and they wind up not. But the acting in it was so strong that you were like, "Oh, this is a really good one." Versus sometimes when you watch something and like a TV show, and you just feel detached from the characters. Season 2 of Westworld, I started kind of watching it. I felt detached from the characters.
Very much. I was attached with the characters from the season 1.
Yeah,
you start to pull away from the story.
And it feels like a lot of the time now in certain TV shows, maybe it's me or maybe it's just the way it feels now. I feel very detached.
Can I tell you a little bit about a theory about that? Because I was talking with this guy. Someone was asking if we were doing meet and greets and stuff like that. I mean, I'm talking to this guy about maybe doing like some lecture series with their school. But anyhow.
Yeah,
I was talking to him about this stuff, and he's like, "We're talking about TV shows. Feel like, and the economics of it, feel like you have to. You never get a final resolution.
Yeah,
right. Like the worst example is House.
Oh, we were talking about this. Yeah.
So the worst example is House because you're like, oh, he's gonna get better. No, back to the same. Back to episode 1. So these shows, like they've in order to like survive as a show, they want to have long series. So it's like you go through these long arcs and nothing really happens. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Whereas in a movie, you have 2 hours and that's it.
Yep.
Maybe you'll get a sequel, but you've got 2 hours and it's the only thing you got. So that's an interesting difference between the movies and TV. So I'm wondering, like, while I'm watching these shows on TV and like some shows that, like Game of Thrones is a great example of a show where stuff happens.
Yeah.
Like it matters. You know, the Red Wedding makes changes the story. Ned Stark in the first season, you know, that's something happened to him.
Yeah,
we no longer follow his story anymore, right? So that's a good show is a show that can transform and change and be different. But a lot of these shows tend to fall in just a similar routine, and then it's like, well, we just peter off and lose interest in it.
Yeah, and I mean, I enjoy Flash. I enjoy Arrow. Wow, those are the two I really enjoy. But I mean, the thing of it is it really is becoming that thing of like, oh, we have all these stories to draw from, and so like we can make it, you know, have that little bit of sci-fi-ish in it. Yet all these other ones are still really going with the let's just be the comedy and stuff like that. And I feel like where we sit now, comedy is always good, but at the same time, there really aren't those Game of Thrones-esque storylines going, and which is really funny because for the first season, I hated it.
Oh yeah,
and yeah, I think so. Lisa, who's in here, had me watch the first season of Game of Thrones. And I just got pissed off because of every decision I felt like Ned Stark was making was terrible. And then she's like, well, let's just watch the second season. And the second season, people were making what I felt were actually viable choices that just turned out not the way they expected. And so I was able to, I have not seen the first season since I started after I watched it. But I love the second season onward. Like just the first season, it felt like, oh, Ned Stark is so altruistic, and it's like, okay, bitch gets pushed around so much. Like at that point, you just throw out your altruism out the window. At like halfway through that season, I'd been like, screw you guys. But at the same time, I respect Ned Stark's stance, but I wouldn't want to be him because he freaking ended up dead. Spoiler alert! And so
he hasn't watched the first seasons by now.
Yeah. And then there's
Bean.
always like, you know, what is it? Freaking Walking Dead, which I just despise because they always throw in the jump scare zombie that no one saw. And it's like, bullshit. Like it didn't go, like it just fucking teleported behind that guy. Screw you. That's not how it works. But I mean, yeah, it's just like, I feel Breaking Bad was good. Like there are those ones that come along that just like you realize are really good and unique, and then there's all those the other shows.
Yeah.
And like at this point, I feel like Game of Thrones and maybe some of the CW comic book shows are really the only things that stand out. But going backwards, there was always a lot of TV shows in the past that I enjoyed.
Oh yeah, so Jacob just mentioned one of our favorites too, Peep Show.
Oh yeah, Peep Show.
Peep Show is a great. Again, Peep Show is also one of those things that they were not necessarily afraid of transforming themselves and changing from season to season.
Adrian said one, Barry. That one actually is, which is Bill Hader.
Yeah.
And that is a really good show, too. I didn't think about that one.
Yeah, this year I did watch The Ozark, try to get into it. The problem I have with The Ozark, and I think it's very well done, although a lot of it's shot the same way that Han Solo's movie was shot.
Yeah.
Everything in shadow and you can't see shit. But the thing with Ozark, I hate it when a TV show or a property makes a character so evil and scary that it's like, I don't even want to be here. Because I feel like it's almost too cheap.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like these people, Ozark does such a good job with their villains that I really despise. I get like icky. I feel icky even being in the same room with the television with these villains. I don't know. I don't like to watch those shows so much. It's well done. I'll grant you that. But, and again, I also did not like the way the lighting on Ozark, because that was literally the Han Solo treatment.
Okay, so I didn't want to ask this question because I was afraid it would sound pretentious, but this is Filmmaker IQ. So I wanted to ask, what is the right way to break the rules of film?
Deliberately. Deliberately break the film. I mean, what film rule are you talking about? Like the 180-degree rule, which is, watch like Stanley Kubrick. He just deliberately breaks it. There's ways of sneakily breaking it. The shutter speed rule, which is the 180 shutter speed rule. Just break it. Just use different shutter speed.
Yep. I mean, here's the thing. If you're gonna break a rule, ask yourself why.
Yeah.
And then if you can justify it to yourself, like if you're like, oh, because it does this, which allows me to do this, and then because of that, if you can follow a train of like, there's reasoning behind it versus I just want to do it, then do it. Find a way. Just
The funny thing is, there's not a whole lot of rules left, really. Because I can just think of those two. Those only two I can think of.
Yeah.
But yeah, rule of thirds, but that's a guideline.
Yeah, that's just a guideline.
Everything's really a guideline. It's how does it serve your story, and how does it serve to get across what you're trying to tell?
Exactly.
That's all.
I like that. Yep.
With great villains comes great hero. Except for Ozark, because Ozark, it's just David Bluton or Michael Bluth just being, being a jerk.
Yeah, and at the same time, a lot of TV shows now is with great villain comes a greater villain.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff that I'm watching is just like, oh, suddenly you don't feel as bad for the first villain because there's now a villain and now he's fighting that villain, and then he becomes the ultimate villain again to find yet another villain. So it's like,
spoiler alert on the Ozarks. You're right. A greater villain shows up.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like even more disgusting.
Yep.
I don't know. We're getting old. I just want to watch movies about two women cat fighting.
There you go.
Like,
keep it simple.
Angrily, just like Mean Girls was a great movie, because that's like exactly my type of movie. Based on the book Queen Bee, by all things.
The Blackmagic Pocket Camera.
Oh, yeah.
4K? Yeah. Yes, you did, right?
Yeah, so it's going to be our next subject of our next IQ video is about how to use that as far as the dual ISO is concerned with dynamic range. It's an interesting camera if you look at the dynamic range chart. He encourage you to go out there and Google it. But I will show you some interesting ways to think about the camera that may not be quite intuitive right off the top of your head.
All right, gentlemen and people of the stream.
Yeah,
John is. You're gonna call it?
I'm gonna call it. Yeah, because I want to get.
Sadly,
back to this
I have to get going.
He has to get to work
because I have to get some work done. But as we are cutting this off a little early, we'll just quickly go over it. We will be adding a second. So we're doing the second and fourth. Friday of every month. One will be during the day, like we're doing right now. One will be during the night. It'll be the day shift and the night shift.
Day shift as in what we're doing, not necessarily where you are.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly. And we will be. So this way we can answer more questions. We'll also be bringing a little bit more content. So if you like what you're seeing, go to Patreon. Support us that way, or just, continue watching our videos like the troopers that you are. Think about buying a shirt. If you see on John over there, we got a 24 frames per second, living that life. And what other ways? Oh, go to filmmakeriq.com and support us that way. Are there still quizzes? Are we
not daily quizzes? We're doing daily news bite.
Daily news bite right now. Plus, there's also articles on other independent filmmakers over there. You can always contact John if you contact him in the right way. If you've made a film yourself and you want to tell us the process you went through, you can always write up a story for us. And if John approves it, it will show up over there.
Yep.
And just thank you guys for being awesome and hanging out with us. We truly do appreciate it. You guys are amazing. And so I think anything else you want to say before we head out?
Today is Amanda Pete's birthday. We covered her story on Filmmaker IQ. So that's what dailies are now. Dailies are in little stories about what happened today historically. But yeah, Joe covered it nicely, summed it up. It saved me some voice there. So very good. Yeah, we both have like a little bit of something with our throats. So that's why we're going to kind of cut it off a little early. Just not.
Yes, and welcome to the 2019, you guys. And we look forward to giving you guys some really good content. And hopefully you guys will enjoy it, and we'll look forward to your guys' feedback on the next Pubcast.
Next one,
to see you guys there.
4th Friday of the month. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you guys soon.